I'm going to write a simple BMR basal metabolic rate program. This will be for females. I looked on the internet, and the formula for calculating your BMR, which is how many calories you burn just by existing each day, is right up here. So this is for a man and this is for a woman. And this is my sample run. So it will print out a little message to the user, and then it will ask them for their weight, their height, and their age. And then it will calculate the BMR, and it will print out the number of calories they burn per day. And so I'm going to look at all my inputs, and I have an input for weight, height, and age. And I will expect them to enter in whole numbers. So I'm going to declare those as integers. And then I'm going to set them to 0 to clear out that memory location. And please get in the habit of doing that, because otherwise you're going to run into some really weird logic errors later on. And it's just a good habit to get into now. So I have my weight set to 0, height set to 0, age set to 0. And then I'm going to create another variable to hold this calculation, and it will be declared a float. And a float is a data type that contains decimal values, and you'll learn about that in the next couple of lessons coming up. And there are floats and there are doubles, and both of them contain decimal values, but one just lets you store more decimal values. So either of them work. And then I'll print out a little message to the user. I'll prompt them for their weight, height, and age. I'll calculate calories. This is the formula to calculate calories. And then I'll print out a message. And notice up here, the formula I copied off the internet uses the X, right, for multiplication. And in programming, it is the star symbol. So make sure you're not using an X when you want to do multiplication. Okay, and now I'm ready to run my program. And I'll enter 115, 64 is my height, 52 is the age, and I burn an average of this many calories per day. Because I already figured that out. Before I even wrote my program, I figured out what the average would be based on this formula up here, so that when I run my program, I know if my calculation is correct. So I do all of this before I write any code. And then I use these numbers to test my program. And it looks like it's working okay. Now I'm going to run it again, and I'm going to enter, I weigh 105.5 pounds. Oops, and it didn't ask me for anything else. Well, that's because weight is declared as an integer. And when I say cin grab weight, it's going to look at everything the user has typed in, and will only grab characters that will make up an integer. So it grabs the 1, and the 5 for 115, but as soon as it gets to this decimal, it says, oh, that's not part of an integer. So it goes into what's called a fail state. So you've actually kind of killed cin for the moment. And when I do this next cin height, this is just ignored. It just ignores and it goes on. So you can see that it didn't allow me to type in anything for height, and it didn't allow me to type in anything for age. Okay, so you have to be careful when you are declaring variables that they're typing in that data type. Otherwise, you're going to cause cin to go into a fail state. And you'll learn how to handle that later on so that your user can't kill your program. But for now, just know that it matters the type of data that you declare and what your user is entering as input. They have to match.